Hello everyone, my name is QuadLy and welcome to a guide on the Prophet Taker, the hardest boss fight in the game if you ask me. Attempting to destroy this boss solo will be really challenging just because the amount of sheer preparation it takes. It is insane. You need to reach a few requirements before you can actually defeat the Prophet Taker. The first one is being rank 5 with Solaris United, and you also need to know Vox Solaris in the back room of Fortuna. You also need to do a few bounties regarding the Prophet Taker. All of them are found at Udico and Biz in the back room as well. These 4 bounties are mostly the lore and explanation of how the Prophet Taker works, but you do not need to pay attention to them if you don't want to. The 4th bounty is the actual Prophet Taker fight, and just so you know, I will be calling Prophet Taker P from now on, just so I don't repeat myself all the time. The second requirement is a Gyromag on your Archgun or a Necromech. If you do not have a good Archgun though, you will not most likely, but absolutely fail. Okay, we now know what we need to do to fight him and where to find him, so now let's talk about how to destroy him. There is a couple of things you need to know. One are the phases of the fight and the other one is preparation. We will go over the latter one first. P has Sentient Adaptive Shielding, which means it can only be damaged by one specific status type at a time. The status type is displayed in the middle of its forehead. It is extremely easy to spot, to say the least. There is a way to change this status type as well, but more on that later. There is 13 status types in Warframe: Impact, Puncture, Slash, Heat, Cold, Electricity, Toxin, Blast, Corrosive, Gas, Magnetic, Radiation, and Viral. My recommendation is to mod for at least 6 or 8 status types. The weapons you should focus on should have high damage output, fast fire rate, as much ammo as they can carry, or even better, a recharging battery, and for the last, they should do damage from far away, so as little fall off as possible or none, even better. What really matters on your weapons is not total damage this time, but specifically the status damage you want. For example, my Tombfinger Kit Gun does not do much puncture damage, so I will either mod it for some other damage type as well, or I'm just going to leave puncture out of my rotation. I really hate making these kinds of guides because of all the speculation of which weapons people have and can afford, plus the mods they have, so you will need to really sit down and prepare your arsenal and find the right combination of weapons and status types. Don't forget that you, besides the primary and secondary weapon, also have the Archgun or even a melee weapon if you dare to come near the orb. Also, if using the Necromech, you have the Exalted Blade or even the Aquabex. As far as I know, almost every Archgun is good enough as far as you mod it for radiation damage, which is the best to use against Prophet Taker. My arsenal usually consists of Chakur with emphasis on impact damage and viral damage, secondary Tombfinger Kit Gun with emphasis on corrosive, and melee Redeemer Prime or normal one with emphasis on gas, magnetic, and blast damage, and an Archgun for toxin and radiation damage, so I have 9 status types out of 13, which is quite good, but you do not need that many. Now let's switch over to Warframes. There is 2 types if you ask me, the ones that dare to go melee and the ones that don't. Most of the time you will need to focus on surviving the attacks of the orb by just running around and jumping all the time. I myself prefer to use very survivable Warframes such as Inaros, Chroma, Oberon, Limbo, Rhino, Neja, and I think that's actually it. Yeah, P hits really hard. But I think that is actually it about the preparation, so let's just continue to the Prophet Taker Destruction Heist, the 4th bounty. The first thing you need to do is just go outside and find P somewhere in the Vallis. When you get to her, the first thing you need to destroy are her shields. Again, the status type with which you can destroy the shields is on her forehead. Now this is very important. If you do not have the specific status type that is on her forehead, you can shoot her with your operator amp. This will change the status type it is damaged with. When you shoot it with the amp, P's shields have a 5-second cooldown in which you can't change the shields, but again, you can do it right away after the 5 seconds. After you destroy her shields for the first time, you then need to destroy her 4 legs with an Archgun, either the Gyromag one or the Necromech one. I myself suggest you to use a necromech if you can, even though some may suggest against it. Why I do that is specifically because of the ammo. It recharges on the necromech, while the arch guns have a long ass cooldown. When you destroy the forelegs with an arch gun, you need to destroy P's head. When you do that, he will shoot out a few pylons that again need to be destroyed. Just run around and melee them, that is pretty quick. When you destroy the pylons, you need to again destroy her legs and head, and at this point you will repeat the same procedure again as the beginning. Destroy the shields, then legs, and then pylons. But here now is the hard part. After you destroy the pylons for the second time, there will be a 5-minute countdown. In those 5 minutes, you again need to destroy her shields, then her legs, and head again. And then you're finally done. I know I might have gotten over this a bit too quickly, but for real, the fight is not that complicated. Try to keep your distance and everything should be a-okay. After you destroy P's head for the last time, she will murmur a few words and then drop the loot. Pick these resources up and as soon as possible run as far away as you can, because P is literally a nuke going off in the valleys. The loot you will get is 1 Crisma Toroid, 3 medical depth bonds, 2 advances depth bonds, and 1 familial depth bond. These resources are actually doubled if you have the double resource booster, so the more you know. The Crisma Toroids are required to rank up to rank 5 of Vox Solaris and are also quite nice to have as a standing boost, even though farming lesser Toroids is much better if you ask me. Crisma Toroids are also used to craft Hildrin's signature weapon Larkspur, a freaking amazing archgun that spews plasma at your enemies. It is extremely fun to play with. There is also a hefty amount of credits you will get by destroying P, not super huge, but it is quite nice. The table of heist rewards is on the screen right now. Most of the people are probably going for critical focus, which is probably one of the must-have mods on your archgun, giving you 60% critical chance when aiming, plus 60% damage. Tell me that isn't cool. That is actually it. For the last segment, I just want to give you a few tips as well. First one is solo play. Do not attempt it if you do not have good weapons and know exactly what you are doing. It is a waste of time for real. Try doing the heist in a public match at least. It will probably not be easier to destroy P, but it will be much more survivable for you. The second tip is about the enemies that are present during the fight. Most of the time they will launch at you and stagger you. This is why movement is extremely important. What is also important should be your instinct actually, destroying the alert beacons. Even though many people just forget that, you will easily become overwhelmed and just die. The third tip, again, the resources. If you have a double resource booster, this will give you 2 Crisma Toroids and double the depth bonds you get normally, which is extremely cool if you're just in for both Solaris United and Vox Solaris Standing. The fourth tip should also be common sense. If you play in a public match, do not change P's shields with your amp if you do not have the specific damage type. Some other person might have it and might actually focus for that type, so try not to be a dick. I went apeshit a couple of times when a person was either trolling or being selfish, so yeah, just don't be a freaking dick. The only thing you will do with this is just get reported and probably banned if you do this too much. If you get called out, just freaking apologize. If you won't, you will look like an arrogant son of a bitch. But yeah, that is pretty much it. An extremely hard fight that does quite a lot of you if you ask me. Good resources, nice mods as rewards and other stuff. If you have any questions, be sure to ask me down in the comments about it. I read every single one of them, most of the time reply as well. Even criticism, if I think is justified, is the only way to actually making better content. But for real, that's it. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, or maybe even subscribe. And have a nice day. Bye guys.